Okay, so today's lesson, like I said, we're going to multiply and add. What that basically means, we're going to look and think what two numbers can we use to multiply together to get the m, but then use those same two numbers or same two factors and add together to get 27. So when you think m, that means multiply, a, that means add. So what you're going to have to do first are write the factor pairs of 50, which we've done. We've found factor pairs. This is where if you have a multiplication chart, you're going to want it. Okay? You're also going to want your calculator out to help you out too. So all we're going to do right here is list our factor pairs of 50, a chart. So I like to do things in order. It makes a lot more sense when you go through and you write these out in order. So I know that if I take 1 and 50, there's a factor pair. Because if I take 1 times 50, I get 50, right? Okay. Can I take 2 times something to get 50?
Yeah.
25. So 2 times 25 will get me to 50. Can I take 3 times something to get me to 50? 4 times something to get me to 50?
But they weren't below.
6.
Miss Lincoln, you're supposed to write it on the next side of the M50 and the 827.
It doesn't matter. You can write it where you choose to. As long as you show it somewhere, it's okay. Okay, so 3 can't be multiplied by something to get 50. 4 can't be multiplied by something to get 50. Can 5 be multiplied by something to get to 50? 5 times what?
10.
How about 6?
Nope.
How about 7?
Nope.
How about 8?
Nope.
How about 9? How about 10?
Yeah.
But we already used 10 as a factor, right? So that means I'm done. Anytime that you say the factor that you've already used, you're done. There are your factor pairs. So all 3 of these pairs here, I can multiply together and get 50. Now, which of these 3 pairs can I then add together to get 27? 2 and 25. So if I take 2 times 25, it equals 50. But if I take 2 plus 25, I get 27. So there's my answer. So my answer for this is 2 and 25. That's it. That's all you're doing. Now, that doesn't seem hard. You're right, because I start off a little simpler, easier, right? You're going to have some bigger numbers to deal with. And then down the road, not next week, but the week after, our last week, I'm not teaching you a new lesson. I'm just going to throw some negatives at you. So right now, for this week and next week, we're only focused on positive numbers, which make it a little easier. But when I throw those negatives at you, you're really going to have to think. Okay? I got to challenge y'all. Okay. So this is what I want to see you guys write on your notes. So it says, it says list all the factor pairs of m. That's what you want for step 1. Step 2, choose the factor pair with the sum of a. You can skip to step 2 as soon as you find a factor pair that works. So what that means is if I give you 360 for the m and 38 for the a, once you find the one that works, you don't need to write out all the factor pairs of 360 because that will waste a lot of time. Okay? So write those steps down for step 1 and step 2. Example number 2, we just did for example number 1, right? So we really don't need to do example number 2 again. So everything that's listed or everything that's up on the board, the parentheses included, you're going to write down in your note sheet. So again, list all the factor pairs of the m. So that means, what can I multiply together to get 50? What are all my factor pairs of 50? Then, which of those factor pairs can I then add together to get my a, which is 27? We don't, that's what I was saying. We don't need to do example number 2. If you want to write, see example 1 or draw an arrow up to example 1 because we've already done it. We're not going to rewrite that all out. Okay, so let's look at example number 3. So example number 3 says, what two numbers multiply to m and then add together to a? This is where people start to get lazy and they just want to guess and they don't want to write out their factor pairs.
Just circle it.
I'm going to tell you, don't do that. Write your factor pairs out. By writing your factor pairs out, one, it's going to keep you more organized to see what factor pairs you've used, and two, it'll honestly make finding your A a lot easier. So what I'm going to do, off to the side, well, I don't have room on this side, so I'm going to write mine underneath, but off to the left side of your example 3, you have space where you can write your factor pairs. So we're going to go through together and write our factor pairs of 24. So what that means, 1 times what gets me to 24? 1 times 24 will get me to 24, right? 2 times what equals 24? 12. 3 times what equals 24?
8.
4 times what equals 24?
6.
5 times what equals 24?
Nothing.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
My next number would be 6, right? Did I already use a 6?
Yep.
So I'm done. So all of these numbers here, I can multiply together and I get my 24. Now notice, all of my m's are 24, right? So I'm using all these factor pairs for this 24. So then I'm going to go through and I'm going to find my A. My A means add. Which of these numbers can I now add together to get 14? 2 plus 12 will be 14. So there's my answer for this first MA. So 2 and 12. So that's my first answer. So if I take 2 times 12, I get 24. If I take 2 plus 12, I get 14. So now my M is 24, which I know all these pairs over here, when I multiply them for M, it's going to equal 24, but my A is 10. Which of these numbers now can I add together to get 10? Well, what's 1 plus 24? Too many. What's 2 plus 12? Too many. What's 3 plus 8? Too many. So what's 4 plus 6? So does that equal my A for 10? Yeah. You guys aren't old enough for blackjack, but it always makes me think of blackjack. Too many. All right. So then I come to my last group. My M is 24, which I know all these numbers will multiply together to get 24. But which of them can I now add together to get 25? 1 and 24. That's it. That's all you do. That's all today's lesson is.
Oh, okay, so I'm done with this part.
Okay.
That's all the
We're going to do one more example together. Then we're finished with the notes for today, and I'm going to give you worksheet 5.7. 6.7. No, we're rewinding back to the 5th triad. I don't want summer to come. I want to be with you guys forever. So we're going to go back to 5th triad. What? You guys are ready to be done with me in algebra?
Yeah, no one likes that.
What? Yeah, y'all come see me next year when you're in geometry. Okay. So, focus again. Example number 4. What 2 numbers multiply to get M, then add together to get A. So my M is what number? 90. Now, it's 90 for the entire row, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to list all my factors of 90. What does that mean to list all my factors of 90? Yeah, the numbers that multiply together to get 90. And we're going to do it in order. Again, I don't have room to the left. You guys do, so I'm going to write mine underneath here. So I have 1 times what equals 90? 2 times what equals 90?
No.
2 times what equals 90? If you don't know, and you can't, close, and you can't find it on your table, just take 90 divided by 2.
45.
45. Did you? I'm sorry. 3 times what equals 90? 4 times what equals 90? If you don't know, take 90 divided by 4.
So 2 times what? I mean 4 times
22, 36.
Wait,
What'd you get, David?
I got 2.
You got a decimal, didn't you?
Yeah.
So if you get a decimal, you can't do it. So 5 times what equals 90? If you don't know, take 90 divided by 5, or just look at your multiplication chart.
18.
6 times what equals 90?
15.
7 times what equals 90? Can't do it because it's a decimal. 8 times what equals 90? Do you see how I'm just going in order? I tried 7, now I'm going to 8. 8 times what equals 90?
Decimal.
Can't do it. 9 times what equals 90? 10. So my next number after 9 is what? 10. I already have a factor of 10. So therefore, there are my factor pairs of 90. So now that I have all my factor pairs of 90, I'm ready to find my A. Which of these numbers can I now add together to get 19? So which of these numbers can I add together?
9 and 10.
9 and 10. Good morning. Then, which of these numbers, thank you, can I add together to get 33?
3 and 30.
And lastly, which of them can I add together to get 21?
6 and 15.
6 and 15.